Yo, this is Kannamix with my new tutorial on how to make a dubstep slash trap track. We're going to be using this project from my forthcoming EP to find out how I personally think it's good to make a track, in what order, how we arrange stuff, what I start with. I'm going to show you maybe a bit of synthesis, and we'll see as we go along. Thanks for watching. People have been asking me what gear I use and if I have any hardware, and the answer to that is no. I only use an iMac with Logic and a pair of monitors, as well as really good headphones. It's really important when you produce. I think actually the most important thing when you produce is to have as many different types of listening points and objects, like different pairs of speakers, different pairs of headphones. It's good if you have stuff that ranges from very bad to the best you can afford. So if a mix sounds good on shit speakers and good speakers, then you're pretty sure you got a good mix. Right, so let's get started. We're gonna start by checking out the drums. So let's solo them. Oops, little crash. Sorry, let's start over. So here are the drums. That's the full drum bus, so with kick, snare, percussion, and hi-hats. That's the kick and the snare. And here's the MIDI that you can check out if they'll show up. Yeah. So yeah, you can see there's 2 different kicks and 3 snares. It's really good to layer sounds to give that extra oomph. And on kicks, if you alternate between 2 kicks, it can give nice little effects. Let's create a loop. Right, check out the hi-hats. Here's the MIDI. You can see, very simple. 3 different sounds. Give it a little groove. And just have differences, nuances, and intensities will give it more realism, as you can see with the different colors on the MIDI inputs. So here's the full drums again. We can check out the effect rack. So here's a compression that will show up. Okay, so it's a very light compression. As you can see, I don't really attack my drums too harshly, so let's see what's the threshold value and the ratio. Come on. Right, here we go. So we've got a ratio of 4:5 and minus 15 dB threshold, so it's very light and it kicks in pretty slowly with an attack of 100 milliseconds, so not very harsh, just to get everything tight and crunchy, but not too much. And here's my second effect on the rack. The PSP Vintage Warmer 2. This is a really nice effect to give a vintage feel to whatever you put it on, with limiting and a bit of EQing, and it adds distortion, overdrive. I think it gives, again, a little extra crunchiness on the drums. And you can see here that my drums are being routed to bus 10, which is the reverb bus, the general reverb bus for the whole track, so they're not in there a lot. Minus 20 dB, but I like to have a general reverb in my tracks because it's nice to send every single different element, every single channel to the same reverb and give the impression that the track is all happening in the same space, because that's what reverb is, right? It's a space. And if you have the snare hitting in a cathedral space, and then if you have the kick hitting in a very small space, and just everything in different spaces, it'll sound very weird and disjointed. It's useful sometimes, though. You can have emphasis on a certain element by changing the reverb, but usually it's nice to have one general reverb, and then you can also affect that reverb and put stereo compressions, etc., EQs. You can see that my drum EQs are really simple. I usually tend to take out some muddiness in the 800 hertz area and boost a bit at 4K to 6K to bring out the snare and the hi-hats, and also boost the kick a tiny bit at 200 and cut a bit off the sub of the kick. Nothing really complicated. It's better to not do too much. The more you do, the more you have issues, and the less you do, the better it is. So it's good in production to try and not affect stuff too much. Just get it the right place. So now we're going to focus on the bass part. There's two basses, as you can see on the arranger, bass 1 and bass 2, and here is the MIDI for the first bass. You can see there's a lot of little MIDI blobs. That's called ghost notes in bass. It's to give that little groove. So here's the EQ now and the flanger. On the EQ, I've cut off the sub because we have a different sub, and then did a little cut off at 740, which is an area with a lot of muddiness, and then just cut off the highs. You can see nothing's happening really, but never know. Alright, let's try and get this volcano opened up now. Here we are. So volcano, oops, it's gone. Come back. Yep. So yeah, the volcano is a filter by FabFilter, a really good filter. And here you can see I've used the preset. Yes, I've used the preset. Oh my god. I used the Add Some Spice preset, which makes it a bit more crunchy and gives that little wobbly sound with the flanger. The flanger kind of sets it in the stereo field, and you can see there's also a compression, which is the sidechain. Now the bass 1 is going to the bass bus here, where we have again an EQ, a compressor, and a vintage warmer like the drum bus to bring crunchiness and bring stuff together. Right, now we're going to check out bass 2, which actually isn't really a bass, but the sound is a bass. It's just, yeah, it sounds like a lead and a bass. I don't know, man. Okay, so this is the MIDI. You can see, not too complicated. All the little weird sounds you're hearing is automations, effects. So here's the EQ. Again, a flanger, stereo, volcano with the Add Some Spice. And here's the compression. You can also see there's a timeless on the rack, the bass 2 rack, which is a delay. And it's going to the bass bus. And then I've got other mix effects, direction mixer, which is just to place it in the stereo, and the two compressors are side chains from the drums. Yep. On the EQ you can see I just cut off the sub and put a little boost at 5 kilohertz to make it more bright. Now let's check out our basses with the drums. So we've got our bass 2 with the drums. And then we've got our bass 1 with the drums. So you can see the track is already starting to be dancey and take form. Right, so now we're going to focus on the vocals for the final part of today. So let's take off all the effects and bypass. You can hear my voice appearing. Yes, I am not Jamiroquai. So join me in the night and let's get down. That's a delay, timeless, again, EQ, denoiser, the compressor, oops, no, the vocal transformer, which is basically a vocoder, pitch shifter, and pitch correction, which is like an auto-tune. Let's pop them up. So here we got the pitch correction and the tuner where you can see it's 12 semitones up, so raise the vocals by 12 semitones, which gives that little chipmunky effect. And then on the vocoder you can see there's a little bit of correction being done. Not that much. Alright, this is the vocal transformer, which gives the robotic effect. Whoa. Much better width. And you can see the pitch and the formant little knobbles moving around because I've automated them, which changes the pitch. So yeah, I tried to play it a bit Daft Punk there. Alright, let's pop up the EQ if it would like to. I don't think it's gonna want to today. Whoa. Very laggy when I record. Okay. Gone. Okay, here's the EQ. You can see again, cut off the subs and the bass, and then put a little dip in the muddy area, 800, and a little boost at 6K to make it brighter. Now here you can hear a little cut I did. Just change it up. Sounds like a weird midget sound. I don't know what the hell, midget chipmunk or something. No offense, I like midgets, sorry. Yeah, so you can just hear that little loop going on, and that's the vocals. Not much really. I recorded with my iMac microphone, so you know it's not like you need such a massive thing. And now let's hear the vocals with the bass and what we've done so far. So yeah, that's what we've done so far on the track. I think it sounds pretty good, and tune in for part 2.